Hey, what's up, everyone? Jim and Joshua here with our reaction to some big news that dropped. James Gunn is going to write and possibly direct Suicide Squad 2 for Warner Brothers. This is obviously a huge get for the DC Movieverse and for Warner Brothers. What do you think about James Gunn joining Suicide Squad 2?
It's definitely really exciting, really interesting that he's landed over at Marvel rival DC, and we know from his career, of course, especially with Guardians of the Galaxy, that he has what it takes to build an eclectic team of weird loser characters and these broken people and bring them together and make a really cool, entertaining story out of it. The report is very vague. It says he's going to be taking the franchise in essentially like a new direction. It's not a direct sequel. Sounds like he's revamping it, sort of a soft reboot. We have no idea which characters will be returning or if anyone will be recast or anything like that. But we just pretty much know from James Gunn being a part of it that it's probably going to be a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, look, James Gunn brings a very unique sensibility, a sense of humor, very bent sense of humor. It did get him fired, but like I think he will give this DC Movieverse sort of a shot in the arm in a sense, and give it a sense of identity that it might be kind of lacking at times. The comics do allow for a sort of overhaul of the roster of Suicide Squad, and so. Yeah, you can actually sort of soft reboot Suicide Squad without necessarily making a big show of it and saying, oh, this is we're breaking away from everything. I mean, you could still have Harley Quinn show up in there. You could still have Deadshot. But I think that this allows them to give him free reign in a way without making it like a big deal like the DC Movieverse is rebooting.
Right, yeah, and he does have this great ability to build out a universe, because the Guardians were in other movies, and he always had a hand and made sure that their integrity was maintained. And so I think when you get James Gunn, you're not getting him for just one movie, just Suicide Squad 2, or whatever they end up calling it, you're getting someone who can build a universe, which of course the DC movies really need.
Yeah, and let's face it too, like Suicide Squad are about underdogs. In the movie itself, like, you know, Guardians was an underdog movie. That was a huge question mark when that movie was announced. I think he has the momentum kind of on his side here to give the DC Movieverse sort of the direction and identity, frankly, that it could use right now. Probably less dark and yet still subversive and funny and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but like the comics do allow sort of an avenue maybe that he could follow. Do you have any theories?
I do have a theory. So
Hit us with that theory, Joshua.
There's this comic book called Suicide Squad From the Ashes, which would be very apt that they're doing this sort of what sounds like a soft reboot. In that story, the Suicide Squad had like a fresh batch of new recruits. Rick Flag had been killed and he came back to life because comics. But yeah, it was this really interesting story that was essentially a reboot of the Suicide Squad team, and I think that would just be the perfect starting point for whatever script he's working on. I don't think he should do like a one-to-one adaptation and use the exact same characters, but I do think it's a really cool story, especially because it is very true to what the Suicide Squad should be and wasn't in the first movie. This is like a Black Ops squad, essentially, this team of unsavory people going on unsavory missions that the Justice League wouldn't touch. They go to other countries, try to stop a viral weapon from being built, and take on an opposing country's own metahuman team. Like, that sounds awesome. That's totally what they should do in the sequel.
All right, well, that's very exciting. We'll see what direction, story-wise, James Gunn takes Suicide Squad 2 in, and if he'll end up directing or not. He is definitely writing it. Let us know what you think about all this in the comments. For more DC movie stuff, check out 5 minutes of footage from Aquaman that's now out, and watch Zachary Levi, star of SHAZAM, going around New York Comic Con, seeing if people know what SHAZAM stands for. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe on whatever platform you like to watch IGN.